Ladies and gentlemen, and my sincerest apologies for the slight delay in starting off this evening's proceedings, and welcome on behalf of all the partners who are here today to the EzCash strategic partnership with Etisalat Lanka announcement press conference. To start things off for this evening, I'd like to invite the dignitaries who will be taking their place at the head table. They will be, of course, Mr. Gerald Rasulgu, expert on mobile money, GSMA, Mr. Riaz Rashid, Deputy CEO of Etisalat Private Limited, Mr. Wael Salman, Acting CEO of Etisalat Private Limited, Mr. Farid Kader, Senior General Manager Mobile Money Payments for Dialog, Dr. Hans Vijay Surya, Group Chief Executive for Dialog EzCash PLC, Mr. Azwan Khan, who is the Group Chief Operating Officer for Dialog, and Mr. Dilshan Rodrigo, who is the Chief Operating Officer for Hatton National Bank. Gentlemen, if I can have you up at the head table. Thank you very much indeed. And now, ladies and gentlemen, to start things off and talk a bit about transcending traditional boundaries and to provide a brief introduction and presentation on EzCash, I'd like to invite to the podium Mr. Farid Kader, the Senior General Manager for Mobile Money and Payments for Dialog EzCash PLC.
Members of the head table, my dear friends from the media, distinguished invitees, ladies and gentlemen. Synergies beyond transcending traditional boundaries. I'm sure you must be very eager to know what this is all about. Let me take you through that. But before that, let me give you a snapshot of where we are today. We have 1.3 million customers. We have 14,000 plus retail merchants and 2,000 plus strategic partners. 6 billion in money circulation over the year 2013. Now the good news is, the last few months we have seen some tremendous growth. From October onwards, it has been on the rise, and now we are circulating about 700 million rupees worth of transactions a month. The multi-operator model, one platform, one ecosystem, and multiple operators. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, this is a first of its kind in the world, where two operators use the same platform, the same ecosystem to provide a service for all Sri Lankans. How does it work? We have the payment system provider, who is EzCash, who was licensed in 2012 by the Central Bank of Sri Lanka under the aegis of Payments and System Settlements Act number 28 of 2005. HNB, Hatton National Bank, is a custodian bank, and Deutsche Bank is a trustee. So all the accounts that are in the EzCash ecosystem, the aggregate value has to be kept rupee to rupee in a custodian account. And how does this work? We have a customer profile manager where we use an independent party, which is KPMG, a firm of chartered accountants, who will manage the profiles of the customers, and the transactions will go through the payments gateway, which is the EzCash gateway. So the Etisalat and Dialog customers will be able to seamlessly transact using the same platform. So there will be no differentiation between a Dialog customer and a Etisalat customer anymore. You will not see any differentiation at all. It will be seamlessly transferred without any differences. The transaction charges, the same merchant ecosystem will be used by all parties. So if you look at the third box there, Dialog, Etisalat, and there is another box. So we've modeled this in a way that we can open this up to another mobile network operator. So it's more like a plug and play, where if another mobile network operator wishes to join us, they can do so. How will the customer experience be? When an EzCash customer, let it be a Dialog or a Etisalat customer, dials #111#, or uses the EzCash application on a smartphone, They'll go through the same menu. There'll be absolutely no difference. They can do Etisalat bill payments. They can do all Dialog bill payments. There is Dialog TV, GSM, CDMA, and they can do money transfers, be it an EzCash, Etisalat customer with another Etisalat customer, or Etisalat customer with a Dialog customer, or vice versa. There will be absolutely no difference at all. So, if you had issues where earlier you had to send some money to a friend of yours who is in a remote area where he did not have a Dialog connection, he would have had to give his neighbor's phone number or EzCash number or somebody else's number and then go there and collect it. Now they don't have to do so, because if you're a Etisalat customer, you have the luxury of joining or having a wallet. Thereby becomes extremely convenient. What else can you do seamlessly without any differentiation? Government payments, utility bill payments, CEB, water and LECO payments, over-the-counter payments, that is where you go to any outlet which accepts for purchasing of goods, where they accept EzCash, you can transact so. So the advantage there is, if you don't have the money, or if you, I'm sure most of you are very good at window shopping, so you go shopping and you like something, you can always ask somebody who can easily transfer the money, and then you can carry out a transaction. You can pay your insurance bills. Most of the insurance organizations are with us. Microfinance payments. We are carrying out a few pilots with a few microfinance organizations as we speak. We have internet-based payments, where you can log on to the internet and carry out a transaction without any fear, because we provide you two-factor authentication. I think we've explained this before when we launched EzCash. I'm sure most of you are aware of it. Then we have the institutional pay merchants and also clubs and subscriptions. Chartered Accountancy of Sri Lanka, AAT Sri Lanka has joined us. So if you want to pay your membership fees, now you don't have to go anywhere. You can transfer it from your phone, or you can log on to the web and do a transaction without any hassle. What are the benefits? There are a lot of benefits for different stakeholders. For the partner operators, they can ride or they can utilize an ecosystem which is already established, a platform which is already established, a brand and a distribution network which is already established. There will be humongous savings on capex and opex. You don't have to duplicate your investments, and financial benefits from transactions. And the privacy of customer information is also maintained through having an independent party as the profiler. Merchants, you don't need to have multiple wallets like what you see in most of the supermarkets. You will see, I'm sure the banking friends will not really like this, but there are, if you go to an outlet, you will have a lot of POS machines acquired by different banks, right? So if you expect the same thing from a retail merchant, a small time, a gummy popicadi, or a communication store in the town, if you expect you to put money in different wallets and hope that the next customer who walks in will ask for something that you already have, you will have to invest a lot of money. It will have a lot of liquidity issues. Whereas if you have one wallet, be it an Etisalat customer or a Dialog customer, you can serve him or her from the same wallet. And of course, there will be increased customer footfall. What are the benefits to the economy? Savings for the economy, as investments are not duplicated. Enables 60% of the Sri Lankans to seamlessly transact without any issue. When you take Etisalat and Dialog put together, covers more than 60% of the population. Transaction efficiency to facilitate development, wide access to financial needs, supports banking through financial inclusion. And the biggest advantage is the seamless nature of the transactions, and also there will be no differentiation in the cost. There will be no additional charges just because you are coming from another network. Whereas if you look at in in most of the other economies where there are interoperability between two systems, you will have to pay a higher amount because you are transferring money from one network to another network. So here you avoid all those situations. That's all from me. I'm here to take any questions at the Q&A session.
Thank you very much indeed, Mr. Kadir. And just before we go on to the next item on the agenda, I'd like to remind the ladies and gentlemen of the media that the press kit is ready and you can collect it on your way out at the desk in the foyer. So remember, if there are any clarifications, those will be also answered by what is available in the press kit. Right, moving on, I would now like to invite to speak a few words in his capacity as an expert on mobile money on behalf of the GSMA, Mr. Gerard Russell Group.
Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, all protocols observed. Let me start by giving our sincere gratitude for, or rather to Dialog and Etisalat for having us as GSMA at this great event. At the GSMA, we represent over 800 mobile network operators, spanning about 250 companies. And we work not only with mobile network operators, but we also work with the device vendors. We work with health providers. We have programs that focus on women specifically and agriculture. And therefore, our extent to involvement in the mobile financial sector is actually beyond mobile money, but specifically on mobile money, our recent State of the Industry report did indicate that out of 203 million customers that have been registered all over the world, there are about 60 million plus customers that are active on a 30-day basis. At the GSMA, we work towards ensuring that mobile network operators that get into the mobile money space are able to scale the services. They're able to provide secure, safe service to the customers, to the end user. And towards this end, we really want to give our sincere congratulations to Dialog and Etisalat for this very fast, what is a world first in making the systems interoperable. And by doing this, even as Farid has said, it ensures that we do not duplicate, we do not put undue pressure on the agents to be able to provide the service. So on behalf of the GSMA, congratulations. We know that the world will be looking at this new path that you have taken, looking forward to replicate the same. And I also want to recognize the sleepless nights, the pain, the challenges that the two organizations had to go through to make this a reality. I also want to appreciate the work that the Central Bank of Sri Lanka has done in lifting barriers to ensure that mobile money is extended, that we're able to foster financial inclusion. And towards that end, we have seen organizations like Dialog and Etisalat now getting into an arena where they're investing in the business knowing there's a clear direction. So we thank you and wish you all the best.
Thank you very much indeed, Mr. Rasugu, for those words of encouragement and indeed recognition of the efforts that have gone into making this a reality. And now, ladies and gentlemen, it is my distinct pleasure to invite to the podium the acting CEO of Etisalat Lanka Private Limited, Mr. Wael Salman.
Dr. Hans Wajia Surya, other executives, members of the media, ladies and gentlemen, it's with a great pleasure I greet you all and welcome you today to this media briefing. This is a significant milestone in the mobile industry in Sri Lanka, where two giants joined hands for the first time to provide state-of-the-art solutions for enriching people's lives and contributing to uplifting societal values. Etisalat takes a great pride in bringing a party to this unprecedented partnership between two of the world's most significant mobile brands. It is a first in the world history and brings together over 12 million subscribers from Etisalat and Dialog. Let me start off by extending our gratitude to EzCash for giving Etisalat this opportunity to join the EzCash community. Etisalat continues to discover new horizons and explore new possibilities as one of the most powerful players in the telecommunications sphere in Sri Lanka. Our brand is set to journey beyond conventional boundaries to inspire the lives of every Sri Lankan. Etisalat brand values have always centered on enriching and enhancing our customers' lifestyles, and we are always on the lookout for paths and avenues through which we can add value to customer experience. This strategic alliance with EzCash is part of Etisalat broader mobile commerce strategy and will offer innovation, convenience, and cost-effective mobile payment applications to our 4 million plus loyal subscribers base that they can use anywhere and anytime. Etisalat has been a leader in providing innovation and commerce services in the UAE, and this association will enable us to extend the reach to our customers in Sri Lanka. Internet penetration in Sri Lanka is on an upward trend, and services such as EzCash will facilitate and empower consumers to use a mobile e-wallet, which will further enhance convenience. The growth in mobile telecommunications services is changing the outlook of the industry like never before. Innovations such as mobile payment services have generated business opportunities, not only for mobile operators, but to a range of other industry stakeholders. This platform engages not only telecom, but also mobile money platform providers, financial institutes, regulators, payment processes, and money transfer agents, which is estimated worldwide to be worth approximately $280 billion by 2018. Etisalat will continue to search for opportunities to enrich all Sri Lankans with our services now and in the future. And association with EzCash is a proof of our relentless commitment to increase the offering of innovative yet affordable services to our substantial subscriber base. Thank you.
Thank you very much indeed, Mr. Salman. And just a reminder again to our distinguished guests from the media that the media kit will be available from the media relations team as you go make your way out after this evening's proceedings. And now it's time for me to invite to the podium Dr. Hans Vijay Surya, Group Chief Executive for Dialog Axiata PLC.
Mr. Wael Salman, Acting CEO, Etisalat Lanka. Mr. Rasugu, our guest from the GSM Association, thank you for making the trip over to be with us here this evening. Mr. Dilshan Rodrigo, Chief Operating Officer of Hatton National Bank, and Mr. Riyad Rashid, the COO of Etisalat Lanka, my colleagues Farid and Azwan, friends from the media, ladies and gentlemen. It's indeed a pleasure to be here today on the occasion that EzCash becomes the first mobile money system in the world to host two full-scale MNO operations in Dialog and Etisalat. If you take the combined subscriber base of these two networks in Sri Lanka, it exceeds 12.7 million Sri Lankan citizens, and that indeed is more than 60% of Sri Lanka's population. So I think it's a great achievement for two operators to come together in the interest of consumers, of their combined subscriber base, bringing together a complete ecosystem which spans the entirety of our country, from the most remote parts of Sri Lanka to the urban centers of Colombo, Kandy, Mathura, Galle and so on, but also encompassing a large range of institutional partners, including the government of Sri Lanka, banks, utilities, and insurance companies. So I would like to take this opportunity first to thank Etisalat for having confidence in the EzCash service, for having extended their hand of partnership, and also for having worked sleepless nights that were mentioned to make this partnership possible and to complete the technical integration in record time. To Hatton National Bank, my sincere thanks for not only for supporting and making this particular initiative possible, but also for having come forward way back in 2012 to make mobile money in Sri Lanka a possibility by becoming the custodian bank for the EzCash service. Again, it was a heroic effort on the part of one of Sri Lanka's leading banks to innovate alongside us in creating a cutting-edge custodian service, which is, in my assessment, second to none in the world. And this was on the backdrop of the Central Bank of Sri Lanka being one of the most progressive, or espousing one of the most progressive mobile money regulations and policy environments in the world. I think Mr. Kasugu will bear evidence to the fact that apart from Kenya, the next most progressive mobile money environment is in Sri Lanka. And that indeed is all kudos to the regulators, Central Bank of Sri Lanka, the Telecommunications Regulatory Commission of Sri Lanka, and all other stakeholders who have come together to make the policy environment in Sri Lanka a very fertile foundation for the growth of mobile money services. So both companies, I think, are committed today to make this interoperability as seamless and as smooth and convenient as possible. And I think it is to the benefit of our ecosystem, ranging from the small shops across the country to the large institutional partners, that today they have the facility to deal electronically with over 12 million Sri Lankan citizens. The fact that this is the first in the world, I think, brings honor to Sri Lanka, to the Central Bank, to Hatton National Bank, and to both of us, Etisalat and Dialog. It's indeed a privilege to be a part of this initiative, and I would like to thank everyone who has made this possible. The teams from both companies, the teams at Hatton National Bank, our trustee, Deutsche Bank, the customer profile manager, KPMG, and the teams from both Etisalat and Dialog. So I don't intend to speak very much more on this occasion. I'd like to thank everyone from the media who is here today and who has supported us over the years in taking revolutionary technologies and new ways of doing things to the Sri Lankan public. And I look forward to your support in continuing this wave of innovation and communicating it to Sri Lankans across this country. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much indeed, Dr. Hans. And now, ladies and gentlemen, it is time to carry out that first historic transaction. So if there are members of the media who would like to use this photo opportunity, now would be the time. The transaction will take place between the acting CEO of Etisalat Private Limited, Mr. Warren Salman, and Dr. Hans Vijay Surya for Dialog EzCash PLC. The question may arise, who is sending money to whom? But we'll let that be a secret. Well, thank you very much indeed. Are there any questions at all?
How much is the EzCash subscriber base?
EzCash subscribe base is 1.3 million.
And do you have statistics to share, like in EzCash payments? I mean, out of Western points, what amounts to? What proportion of people, transact to EzCash out of Western points?
So, I mean, I think you can take the average adoption rate, which is 1.3 million out of Dialog's 8.5 million customers today. That's a general average, but what we found is that consumers who are more mobile and who migrate out of their general area of residence transact a little more than those who are resident in the same area. So domestic remittance, for example, someone working in Colombo, families in another part of the country, those would be the typical segments that adopt first.
And this question to Etisalat, what was the rationale in choosing EzCash instead of Capital's cash?
Well, we have been in discussion with Dialog since 2013 to launch these services. As you have heard, there has been a lot of work in the background to put this together. Restless nights, and we are pleased to have joined hands with them at this stage.
In the first presentation, savings of capex and operation expenses was mentioned. If you were to go with Etisalat system, how much would have spent on this? What's the saving for you?
It's actually not about the investment and the savings. It's more about the process of the application of obtaining the licenses. And I believe Dr. Hans can share his experience in Dialog. There is a very long process because there are many stakeholders. So it's not purely about the investment, but at the same time, mobile operators in a market, potential market like this, they need to join hands in finding synergies amongst them so that we can provide better services to the end consumers at more affordable prices.
I think it's also about, just to add on to what I just said, the other elements of this ecosystem include the merchants, and whether they be corner stores or large institutions or supermarkets, modern trade, plus the various institutional merchants such as the insurance providers, utilities, government, e-services and so on. Amassing this large merchant base takes a very long time, and we felt that it would be best that we share this effort and capitalize on it for a maximum number of subscribers rather than build individual ecosystems.
Is the system, there was a plan for one more operator. Is the system limited only for 3 operators, or is it scalable?
Our wish is that it will be 5. I think that would be truly a great service if all 5 operators come on board, and our invitation was extended to everyone. But the most progressive on this front was Etisalat, and as Royal mentioned, we've been discussing ever since early 2013 all the preparatory work. HNB had a lot of work to do on this as well, and we managed to complete it early this year.
One final question, what would be the transaction fee for Etisalat? There was mention about financial income through transaction fees. Are you sharing?
Yes, there is the consumer fees are identical, so it will be completely transparent as to which network you are. But there is an element of cost and revenue sharing between us to make the service viable for both. No, I don't have that figure today. We haven't separated it in our segmental accounts, so it won't be appropriate for me to chance a guess at it. But during the build-up phase, the transaction volumes are very attractive. As you can see, 6 billion rupees went through the system within the course of 2013. That's a sizable amount. However, the expense of building the ecosystem, training 16,000 merchants, giving them the right handsets, having all the ecosystems in place within that short space of time, the investment far outstripped any revenues that we could get in the first year. But we both look forward to, I think, growing this in the years to come to make it a profitable service. Just to give a benchmark, I think in Kenya, Gerard, maybe you can talk of the success in Kenya after a few years since inception.
Yeah, just to give you a brief. So globally, just going globally, we have about 219 mobile money service providers in 84 countries, and in 52 of these countries, there are 2 or more mobile money providers in these countries, and in 9 of these countries, the mobile money accounts are actually more than bank accounts. So already seeing the impact that this is having the population. In Kenya, where I come from, easily 75% of the adults use the mobile money service. It's in seventh year, and you find that on average customers would use not only P2P, person-to-person transaction, they would pay bills, they would pay merchants, but still the person-to-person transaction represents the bigger stake. So yes, it's been a runaway success, but we also see other markets. From the state of our industry report, we have seen other markets really picking up on this one.
Great. Oh yes, there's one more there.
GSMA perspective, why haven't you seen co-operators doing something similar? Because you mentioned about it's available in 84 countries. Any reason why they couldn't see what these guys saw?
Again, I just want to reiterate what Dr. Hans said. He got a partner that was, willing to work with them and work with them. Progressive partner in Etisalat, who is not seeing Dialog as in this space as competition, but really the fact that they need to work together. And I think that is what we are lacking on a global scale, for the different operators to actually see that they can work together. There are others that are beginning now to consider it more in terms of the wallet. Whereby you can send money from one mobile network wallet to another mobile network's wallet and be able to interoperate in that way. But as we've said here, this is a world first where one brand is actually carrying 2 mobile network operators. So the service is being taken out there as one brand, the EzCash brand. Again, for fear of repeating myself, it's really for the MNOs to see that it's not about competition, it's about fostering financial inclusion. Then they can interoperate. In some cases, it's also the systems where it's more like a closed loop system, so interoperating becomes a challenge. But I expect in the years to come that this will change, having already set the standard in Sri Lanka.
And the Telecommunications Regulation Commission have been facilitating policy environment for this partnership.
Could you repeat that?
Could you tell us, please, how the Central Bank and the Telecommunications Regulations Commission helped in facilitating the policy environment for your synergy, for your partnership? Thank you.
Okay, I think to begin with, the mobile money environment in Sri Lanka was facilitated by both these institutions. In particular, the Central Bank had to actually draft new regulation, the mobile payment guidelines, which come under the Payments and Settlements Act of 2005. And Harik, as you can see, is an expert on regulation and has spent many hours at Central Bank. The basis of this new regulation permitted the mobile operator to hold the account of the mobile subscriber. That is, the mobile money account of the subscriber could now be held by a mobile operator who had a payment and settlements license under the Payment and Settlements Act. The key facilitator of this is the custodian bank, which is Hatton National Bank. And the custodian bank holds the aggregate of all the accounts, all put together in the banking system, so that the customer is fully protected. So the central bank had to actually draft regulation, new policies, new guidelines to facilitate this, and I think a lot of work went into it. So the next phase of that was that we went to the central bank and said, let us host more than one mobile operation on the same platform. Again, they were very positive and progressive, and saw the merits of this and encouraged both Etisalat and Dialog to facilitate this, and of course HNB had to then extend their custodian services and the technology behind the custodian service to operate. So now that we have completed the implementation for 2, the 3rd, 4th and 5th is going to be fairly straightforward if the other operators accept our invitation to join the plan.
Great. If there are no more questions from the floor, we can move on to the next stage of proceedings. Right. Thank you very much indeed to the ladies and gentlemen of the media who were here with us today. And of course, this is going to be followed by fellowship and cocktails which will be served. And just a reminder, you can collect your press kit on your way out. And while thanking the gentlemen who are at the head table, on behalf of all those who are partnering in this venture, I take it upon myself to wish you a very pleasant evening and enjoy yourself. Good night.